College football now with the latest on conference realignment. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us as we catch up to speed on what's going on with the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the ACC. Let's start out with the Arizona Board of Regents, set to meet today on Arizona and Arizona State's futures. There could be a vote to determine if they will stay in the Pac-12 or move to the Big 12 today. The Big Ten exploring expansion amid the instability within the Pac-12 conference after Colorado made its move to the Big 12. We already know about USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. Will more West Coast schools join them? Plus, Florida State considering leaving the ACC due to revenue distribution issues. We'll go over that coming up later. Let's start with Arizona and Arizona State. The meeting set for 6 o'clock local time tonight. And on the agenda, let's show you what that is from the Arizona Board of Regents. The board will convene an executive session for the following items. The most notable, as you can see, for a review of the president's, but what we're really looking at is for possible legal advice and discussion regarding university athletics. That's what we're most watching for. So you kind of get the idea, right? What's likely to happen is that Arizona and Arizona State will join the Big 12. And then there will be one spot remaining as the Big 12 looks to go to 16 teams. And from what we've been told, Fox and ESPN in their pro rata clauses for their contracts let the Big 12 go up to around 16. That's the magic number to please the networks of what they're looking at. So that would put them in those 14 and 15 spots after Colorado with one more spot still to fill. We'll show you some of those candidates here in just a second. But Arizona and Arizona State to the Big 12. What do you think? Should it happen or not? Weigh in. Tell us in the comment section. Why for yes, in for no, if they should make their move to the Big 12 Conference. It's our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. Why for yes, in for no. So then, after Arizona and Arizona State, where does the Big 12 go from here? There are about 5 potential options for the Big 12 16th school. They include Oregon State out of the Pac-12 Conference, San Diego State in the Mountain West, UConn in the Big East, Utah in the Pac-12, and then Washington State out of the Pac-12. The expectation is that Oregon, Washington, Cal, and Stanford are out of the picture as they are being courted by the Big Ten. More on that later. In the Big 12's case, Utah would be the obvious pick. The goal for Brett Yormark in the Big 12 Conference, ever since they began this crusade of sorts, is been to go after the 4 corner schools in the Pac-12, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State. And so Utah, I think, doesn't necessarily want to be in the Big 12, but they might not have a choice. You either live or die. And in this case, Utah, this might be their only option at this point, is to go ahead and join BYU and go to the Big 12 Conference. Even if they don't want to, I think that's what we're looking at, is that at the end of the day, the Big 12 closes in, goes with those 16 teams, and they stop for now. Maybe they revisit realignment later on down the road when the ACC potentially unravels. But for now, I think that's what you're looking at for the Big 12. And the Pac-12's future looks pretty bleak at this point in time. What are the percentage chances of survival for the Pac-12 Conference? Chime in, tell us what you think in the comment section. Scale it 1 through 100, how likely you think it is the Pac-12 does find a way to make this work. We know the Apple TV deal isn't very good, around $20 million per team. Can they find a way to survive? Does George Kliakoff have a last-minute pitch? Scale it in the comment section. Tell us what you think the chances of survival are. We are presented by BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports, where you can bet on college football, the NFL, preseason action starting tonight. We also have NBA odds when the season goes on, MLB action, MLS, motorsports, whatever you're feeling. You can bet on the Women's World Cup as well. We got all sorts of stuff you can bet on at chatsports.com/bet. You can get a 125% deposit bonus. Promo code CHAT125 for that 25% deposit bonus. Put $100 down, get $125 to spend for free. In fact, you can already bet on odds for the national championship. The favorites are the Georgia Bulldogs at plus 225, Alabama at plus 600, Ohio State at plus 700, Michigan at plus 900. Got some value on the Wolverines there, and LSU plus 1,200. You can place your bets on whatever you're feeling at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125 for that 125% deposit bonus to get your bets in today. Moving on now to the Big Ten Conference, as a report yesterday from Yahoo Sports that the Big Ten has begun discussions already with Oregon, Washington, Cal, and Stanford about making a move. Now, the logistics and all that of what it would take to get it done, I'll show you here in just a second. Well, let's start with the report from Dan Wetzel of Yahoo Sports. The Big Ten has begun exploratory discussions about expanding membership to 18 or even 20 teams, industry sources have told Yahoo Sports. The schools being considered are Oregon and Washington if the league adds 2 schools, and Cal and Stanford if the league moves to 20. And then this morning, we got an update from Pete Thamel of ESPN, their college football insider, saying sources, the Big Ten's presidents, met early Thursday morning and authorized their commissioner to explore expansion and bring them back more information on Oregon and Washington as potential members. No offers have been made just yet. Now, here's what it would take to get this done. The Big Ten would need to carve out a 4th TV package because they're locked in on their inventory already with NBC, CBS, and Fox as is. They would need to carve out something to offer with those new additional teams in order to increase revenue. New schools would probably have to take a lesser revenue share. Oregon, Washington, Cal, Stanford probably wouldn't likely get that $70 million that the other schools are getting, but could be in line to get the full revenue share when that next contract is up for the Big Ten. We also saw in the reporting from Dan Wetzel that the Rose Bowl could end up hosting the Big Ten championship game, that you could have those teams out west, those 6 teams, and then everyone else in the Big Ten on the other side, and find a way to meet the 2 best teams in a conference championship game in the Rose Bowl. And I know you wouldn't have the Pac-12 Big Ten matchup anymore, but you could kind of feel like yesteryear of sorts by having a West and East championship game. Also, one idea that was brought up by Dan Wetzel was more regional-based setup for Olympic sports, adding those teams on the West, making things a lot easier for Olympic sports to travel potentially. The next thing besides just those, the elephant in the room is still Notre Dame at this point. Remember, we haven't gone, this isn't conference realignment anymore. This is conference consolidation right now, what we're seeing at this point, where these networks and these conferences are trying to maximize on their revenue the most they can and try to get the best teams possible, right? And you still have the Notre Dame factor of, are they going to join a conference? Are they going to join the Big Ten or not? They have not agreed to a new TV deal with NBC. And so if there's pressure from NBC, who's a partner with the Big Ten as well, to say, you know what, Notre Dame, we want you in the Big Ten. Notre Dame sees the landscape changing in college football. What if they step up and say, you know what, we want to make a move to the Big Ten? Then this could still change everything that we've talked about today. So we'll see if that domino falls next. We believe here in college football now that Notre Dame does need to join a conference. Specifically, the Big Ten would be the best fit for them to join up with their rivals that are already there with Michigan, Michigan State, potentially Cal and Stanford on board as well. We think they belong there. What do you guys think? Does Notre Dame need to join the Big Ten? Type T for true, type F for false. Tell us what you think if Notre Dame needs to make a move there or not. Folks, we put out a little challenge to you yesterday, and we said that if we got 10 subscribers on yesterday's college football video, we'd be bringing you more college football content. Well, guess what? We got 40 subscribers off yesterday's video. So I'm going to up the ante even a little bit more. Let's say if we get 20 subscribers off today's video, we're going to do even more college football content beyond that. So there's the challenge for our college football fans. If you want more college football content, news and rumors, the latest on conference realignment, we got you covered here on College Football Now by Chat Sports. Subscribe now for free today and turn on notifications. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV to subscribe. And then now the Florida State factor. Florida State considering leaving the ACC. Tell me if you've heard this before. Due to revenue distribution. Let's go through it. This is from Florida State's president in a statement that he released yesterday. Our goal would be to continue to stay in the ACC, but staying in the ACC under the current situation is hard for us to figure how we remain competitive unless there was a major change in revenue distribution within the conference in the ACC conference itself. And then Drew Weatherford, a former Florida State quarterback and a trustee at Florida State, weighed in and said this: unless something drastic changes on the revenue side at the ACC, it's not a matter of if we leave, it's a matter of how and when we leave. It's not easy, though, for Florida State. You comparably speaking to those Pac-12 schools we talked about, their grant of rights are up at the end of this following season, and there is no exit fee for those schools to leave. Meanwhile, on Florida State's end of things, their grant of rights in their TV deal, that runs all the way through 2036. The ACC situation is not going to get any better for Florida State. I know they want the increased revenue. They're looking at around $30 million right now. You compare that to the Big Ten schools and the SEC schools that are making between 60 and 70 million plus. It's not even close. So in Florida State's case, they're looking at, hey, we just want to be able to compete on the same stage. We belong with those Big Ten and SEC schools, but our money is just simply not there for us to be able to compete on their level. Something's got to change. Something's got to be different. So it's not going to be easy. Do I expect Florida State to lead the ACC? Eventually, yes. But they have a messy situation in front of them. Did you know the exit fee in the ACC is $120 million? And we should have some answers pretty soon, as the deadline to leave for the 2024 season is coming up on August 15th. So, there you have it. Will Florida State end up in the Big Ten or the SEC when it's all said and done? I think they're going to leave. I'm sure the Big Ten would love to have their footprint in the state of Florida. That'd be fascinating. Does the SEC lock them down? They seem like they'd be a natural fit in the SEC too. Weigh in. Tell us where you think Florida State's going to go next. B for Big Ten, S for SEC. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Hit me up on social media, talking more college football there at Tyler Jones Live on all platforms. I'll see you next time right here on College Football Now.